Kash Patel, please stay off of my timeline. Like, I am begging you, please stay out of the news unless you are making arrests. And I say that with love. I say that with love because I want this administration to succeed, and your PR, your image is directly connected with that success, in my opinion. Like, I'm honestly starting to miss the good old days when we didn't know what shoes the FBI director was wearing to a UFC fight, when we didn't know who he was dating, when they weren't doing podcasts together, when we didn't know the ins and outs of his personal life when he was off the clock. And I'm saying all of this because, in case you missed it, a scathing expose came out about Kash Patel, and it does not look good. So this is from The Atlantic. The headline reads, "The FBI director is MIA. Apparently, he's not MIA from my timeline, but maybe he is from his job. Anyway, they go on, and the subtitle reads, "Kash Patel has alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences." Now, this headline, like I said, is obviously incredibly ironic considering he is all over my X feed all the freaking time, but it is usually not for a good reason. Now, these accusations of drunken MIA behavior, blowing up at staffers, not being able to be reached for meetings, not being able to use his own computer, all of this comes on the heels of his viral Olympics video with the men's hockey team, and so obviously that is not helping either. But guys, contrary to my previous episodes where I have gleefully spent time ripping into this man, this story, this episode, it is not even about Kash Patel, his love of beer with the men's hockey team, or even his country music sensation girlfriend. It is about how both the left and the right clutch their pearls over the very things that they defend happening in their own party. It is all a big game of division that we are not part of. Now, before we dive into the story, I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for liking the episodes. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you want to stay up to date on everything we're doing, make sure to ring that notification bell and check out brettcooper.com. That is where you can find Cooper Confidential, which is all my behind the scenes content. It is where you can find links to tickets for my upcoming shows. All of that good stuff is over at brettcooper.com. All right, so allegedly, according to this article, Kash Patel is in full panic mode over his fears of being fired from the FBI, which obviously makes sense after Trump recently axed Kristi Noem and Pam Bondi, and the Atlantic reported that multiple White House officials have said that they are actively looking for Kash Patel's replacement and that everyone is just sitting around waiting for the call that he has officially been fired. However, when asked by The Atlantic, top members of the admin, like Caroline Leavitt, still had his back. So in the article, she said, "Crime across the country has plummeted to the lowest level in more than 100 years. Many high-profile criminals have been put behind bars. Director Patel remains a critical player on the administration's law and order team." And then the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche told them in a statement, "Patel has accomplished more in 14 months than the previous administration did in 4 years. Anonymously sourced hit pieces do not constitute journalism." But that really doesn't paint the entire picture of the situation or this article, obviously, considering the over 24 people who were interviewed by The Atlantic, and they all apparently made it clear that he was not fit for the job. Like, this is the most damning part of the piece. They wrote, "Several officials told me that Patel's drinking has been a recurring source of concern across the government. They said he is known to drink to the point of obvious intoxication, in many cases at the private club Ned's in Washington, D.C., while in the presence of White House and other administration staff. He is also known to drink to excess at the Poodle Room in Las Vegas, where he frequently spends parts of his weekends. He's jet-setting off to Vegas. God knows why.
We're not the guys running around on private jets."
He's heading back home. Early in his tenure, meetings and briefings had to be rescheduled for later in the day as a result of his alcohol-fueled nights. 6 current and former officials and others familiar with Patel's schedule told me this. On multiple occasions in the past year, members of his security detail had difficulty walking Patel because he was seemingly intoxicated, according to information supplied to the Justice Department and White House officials. A request for breaching equipment normally used for SWAT and hostage rescue teams to quickly gain entry into buildings was made last year because Patel had been unreachable behind locked doors, according to multiple people familiar with the request. Like, that stuff is crazy. Like, the picture that this paints is of a drunken, unstable man. He's out partying. He's not equipped to do his job. He's gone missing. Like, this is the person who is supposed to be keeping the law and order of this country in order. That was like the worst way for me to ever say that. And I mean, we have talked about this a lot in regards to Trump 2.0, the current Trump administration as a whole, but Kash has really struggled with his PR, his comms, and his messaging, like the hypocrisy with flying around on private jets when previously, before coming into office, he said that, he would never do that those private jets needed to be gotten rid of, flying all over the country to see the country music sensation who is now apparently getting taxpayer-funded FBI security guards, yelling at people behind the scenes because he didn't have the right FBI bomber jacket to wear, getting custom bright yellow Nike Dunks decorated with FBI taglines and logos, his own nickname, Kash, cash money with the dollar sign, which he then wears to UFC tournaments, that he got to by flying around on his private jet, that he previously said he would never use because it was so ridiculous. Now, all the while, normal American people are seeing all of this and they're going, okay, well, is he actually even working? Like, we're hearing about lower crimes, but he's here with, Dana White. There's no Epstein arrest. Like, Nancy Guthrie is still missing and you have cash money dunks. Like, are you the FBI director or are you just here to have fun? And like, I'm not trying to just exclusively shade Kash Patel here. It is not just a cash problem. Like, to be fair, it feels like everyone in modern politics really just wants to be a celebrity right now. They all just want to be podcasters. Like, guys, like, quit your jobs then. Buy a microphone. It might be better. Anyway, but back to the article at hand. Within 24 hours of this article dropping, Kash had already filed a $250 million defamation suit against The Atlantic. And apparently he told them that he was ready to file the suit before they even published the article. They gave him only like a 2-hour window to provide any comments and quotes for the article. And when he saw what they were publishing, he said, I'm ready to sue you. So he did good on that promise and he has officially sued them. And that obviously is a pretty big lawsuit. He has learned from the best. He learned from Trump suing all these media outlets, but The Atlantic is apparently not backing down. So they responded with this statement from The Atlantic: "We stand by our reporting on Kash Patel, and we will vigorously defend The Atlantic and our journalists against this meritless lawsuit." Now, here's the thing. As critical as I am of Kash, even though I enjoy making fun of him, based on this journalist's track record, this woman, I completely understand why he filed this suit. Like, I completely get it because this woman is behind some of the most famous slandering pieces of journalism in modern politics. And her name is Sarah Fitzgerald. So Sarah Fitzgerald is the one who wrote the hit piece on Pete Hegseth when he was getting confirmed, accusing him of being a drunk while working at Fox. She also had, and this is probably the most damning evidence against her, but she had the top byline in NBC's reporting about Brett Kavanaugh allegedly having a gang rape ring in college, which obviously turned out to be a sham. The entire story fell apart once it was investigated, and while this last piece wasn't her directly, her editor at The Atlantic that she is directly working under, Jeffrey Goldberg, is the one behind Trump's infamous suckers and losers story, where anonymous sources said that that is what he had called fallen soldiers. Now, Trump obviously has long called that story a hoax. He said, I never said it, but witnesses have come out both supporting the journalist and supporting Trump. Who knows what really happened? Again, it just, is back and forth all the time. But this writer and her editor, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up is because they are rife with controversy. That is what I'm trying to say. It is not like they have the most perfect track record of all time. And The Atlantic, again, to be fair, is no friend to Republicans or to this administration. So I understand why Kash was immediately on the defense, and I understand why so many Republicans are not quick to believe this journalist. But either way, as you saw in their statement, The Atlantic is obviously standing 10 toes down on this article, and even if their sources turn out to be lying, it's not like Kash Patel has some squeaky clean record to begin with, and at this point, I honestly, when I look at this story, I am just tired of the hypocrisy that comes with all of the outrage, and I'm tired of it from both sides. Because when it comes to stories and accusations like this, whether it's in The Atlantic or the New York Times or NBC News, whenever it is somebody on someone's own side, on their own team, people are silent. They say it's not happening. They deflect, they brush it off, they shift the blame like it is a normal strategy. We all know it. We all have probably partaken in it at some point or other. Like, for example, with this most recent Kash Patel story, it's apparently cool, said one Republican congressman. As long as it doesn't affect his job in a negative way, I'm cool, the Georgia Republican added. So even if this is true, this congressman is saying it's not impacting his job, so whatever, he's cool, it's chill. And this is very similar to how the right at large reacted when the same woman accused Pete Hegseth of being a drunk based on more anonymous tips from Fox News employees while he was, having his tenure there. And again, Republicans generally supported him. Like Senator Mark Wayne Mullen even went so far as to say this in one of Pete Hegseth's hearings.
How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No. But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke.
All right, now I'm just going to pause there. I have so much to say about this clip, and it just drives me up a wall for more than one reason, and maybe not the reason that you expect, because right after he said, how many senators do you know who have shown up drunk to vote? Like, did you hear everyone in the peanut gallery just laughing when he said that. I mean, it's just like, it's all a big joke to them. They're just like, oh, that's so true. That's so fun. Like, they're out there partying in DC. Madison Cawthorn says there's like orgies happening. They're getting it on in congressional closets, according to, George Santos. They're having their sexual misconduct investigations hidden from the public. And then they're just sitting here laughing about drunken behavior. And like Mark Wayne Mullen, he was defending Hegseth against these, slanderous, anonymous allegations. And I understand why. And he made a great point. But he really just exposed the entire system for being even more depraved and perverse. And if we're being honest here, he wasn't really defending Pete's character or saying that everything was a lie and slanderous as much as he was saying it doesn't matter because all of you guys are freaks too. Because all of you have made mistakes as well. Because all of you also have drinking problems and show up drunk to work. Like, so what? He drinks. All of you guys too. So what? He cheated on his wives. You guys too. I mean, like, what a remarkable argument. Like, it is so terrible. It is almost as dumb as the argument that any part of the pro-choice movement makes. And that is why I urge you to support the great work that Preborn is doing. And thanks to you guys, last year Preborn was able to help rescue over 80,000 babies. And today you can help them save even more. Because everything changes the moment that a mother in crisis walks into a Preborn Network clinic and sees her baby on one of their free ultrasounds for the first time. That one moment of connection with her child doubles her chance of choosing life. But what I love about Preborn is that they don't just stop with those ultrasounds, because from pregnancy to years after birth, they give the kind of financial, medical, and spiritual support that makes motherhood possible. They are truly pro-baby and pro-mom, not just pro-birth, which is so important to me. And if you want to get involved, for just $28, you can provide one life-saving ultrasound. $140 provides 5 ultrasounds, which is 5 chances for life. And so this year, let's make it the biggest baby-saving year in history. Take a stand, be bold, and speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Call pound 250. You can say the keyword baby. Again, pound 250, keyword baby. Or if it's easier, visit preborn.com/Brett. Again, that is preborn.com/Brett to get started. Today, you can save a baby and you can help your fur babies by giving them Rough Greens. So my friends over at Rough Greens make supplements designed to help fill in the nutritional gaps that most dogs have. And while in my household, we have obviously been fans of their VitaSmart Greens powder, if you know, you know, our dogs have been devouring their new Rough Chews. They are essentially like chewable vitamins, but for dogs. They are super easy to give, and they are packed with things like probiotics, omega oils, digestive enzymes, and nutrients from fruits and vegetables to help support your dog's overall health. Plus, if you want to take their nutrition to the next level, Rough Greens has their VitaSmart powdered supplement greens powder that you can sprinkle right on top of your dog's food. It is another really simple way to boost their nutrition. So if you want to try Rough Greens for your dog, go to roughgreens.com, use promo code Brett, and they will send you a free VitaSmart starter pack so that you can see the difference for yourself. Again, that is roughgreens.com, promo code Brett. So grateful that they're back on the show and supporting what we're doing here. Again, roughgreens.com, promo code Brett. All right, so back to the point. Yes, even though I have a problem with what he's saying and I don't like the implications of it, Mark Wayne Mullen was right. Because the left was, clutching their pearls and being hypocritical about the whole Hegseth situation, but that doesn't really make the story at hand any better, because the right does the exact same thing. I mean, think back to the election cycle in 2024, when Republicans, and I honestly did this too, but when they spent Kamala's entire campaign talking about how she was drunk, and honestly, she probably was, but I mean, they kept going back to that and mocking her for that and saying she was unfit for office and Republicans were so much better. We had more class, we had more standards. Like, they even mocked her for having a glass of wine after she lost the election. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pile on to her for that. If I also had been embarrassed on a global stage and had the worst campaign in the history of the country, I too would be having a glass of boxed wine from Trader Joe's with my family. That is how I would soothe myself. But even today, literally, as I sat down to film this episode, Kamala is going viral for saying something else retarded, as she always does, and people are claiming that she is a drunk yet again. As you can see here, this is one example in wokeness. Kamala Harris is drunk on stage again. And of course, throughout the entire time that was happening, the left shot that all down. They deflected. They said, no, she never drinks. She's not a drunk, even though obviously it was clear that something was going on. And fast forward to right now, the left is also very quiet about the alcohol accusations against disgraced Congressman Eric Swalwell, which, in case you missed it, yes, there is more to his story. It just keeps getting worse. This is the most recent headline. Staggering number of booze deliveries. Eric Swalwell charged to campaign, including a Vegas bender. Was he there with Kash Patel? Were they at the Poodle Lounge together? Just thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars spent on booze. And I'm sure that all of this is just scratching the surface, not just for him, but for other people in Congress. And guess what? All of this, it's not new. Think back to 1969, when Ted Kennedy was in Congress and he allegedly had been drinking at a party, got into a car with one of his congressional aides, took a wrong turn, drove the car off of a bridge into the water, and his congressional aide died. And he didn't report the incident to the police until 10 hours later, when the woman's body was found. That should be obviously incriminating. He should not be working in government anymore, and yet he served no jail time. He continued to serve in the Senate for another 4 decades. I think they even gave him the title of, like, lion in the Senate. Like, the media largely ignored his past, all while he was struggling with alcoholism in his personal life to the point where his kids in the 90s were staging interventions. He was showing up to work in Congress obviously drunk and flushed. Like, the point is, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because none of this is new in politics. It has always been messy, and in large part, your own party protects you. Like TLDR, everybody there drinks. Everybody gets blackmailed. They protect their own side until it's convenient for them not to. They use blackmail against one another, and then each side freaks out and deflects when the accusations point at them, even if they are protecting people on their own side for doing the exact same thing. Like, my view, as I watch all of this, is like, maybe you're all just terrible. We're all unfit. You are all god-awful people, and you have no right to claim any kind of moral superiority over the other side or over us normal Americans. And I think a lot of us, unfortunately, have wasted breath going after the other side, hoping that ours will, hold themselves to a better standard and prove to be better, only to be let down. It's just unfortunate, and it is disappointing. So that really is the main point to this story. Maybe Kash Patel is a drunk. Maybe he's not. My view is that the story, just based on the author and her track record, is probably a bit exaggerated, but I also wouldn't be surprised based on what we've just seen on social media that maybe he has some erratic behavior. Maybe he's more interested in the poodle lounge than actually doing FBI work. Again, just based on what we've seen online. So all that being considered, especially with all of the shakeups happening in the Trump admin right now, all I can say is that hopefully the sweet voice of his country music sensation can soothe his fears and worries, and then maybe he'll have to spend a little less time at the poodle lounge.